Case number 8. Missing persons in Calico, California. The name of the missing isn't given. However, I hope Detective Padilla will have a mention of it further in the case file. Statement given by Alexander in 2005. No one likes to talk about it. At least the adults don't. The kids and teenagers do nothing but talk about it. We do it quietly, where none of the adults can hear us, usually huddled in a corner or inside someone's room after we triple-checked that no prying ears were around. You wouldn't think anything was strange if you were passing through. Everyone was so nice and amiable. But that was the problem. The adults were always nice and amiable, even when we disappear. The first time I heard about it, I was 12. My classmate Sabrina was talking about her older sister, how she was gone from one day to the next, how her parents had come up with ludicrous excuses as to why she was gone, when Sabrina was the one who knew her the best, knew she would not just leave. After it started happening more often, or maybe I just realized it more now that it was affecting my friends. Their older siblings were disappearing, always an explanation thrown around by the adults, and then no more, as if they no longer wanted to discuss it. But we discuss it, the children of this town. Sabrina told us, quietly, in the field of our middle school. Our teacher was far enough away that he would not overhear us. My sister saw the woman twice. She thought she was going crazy. She kept looking over her shoulder all the time, feeling that the woman was there, always there. But she could not see her. But she did see her twice, only twice. At least, I think only twice. She disappeared, so she had to have seen her a third time. You might be asking yourself who the woman is. I asked myself that at the time, but then I heard it again when Mike's sister disappeared. She saw the woman, first in the mirror and then standing by the end of her bed. She said she could feel the woman, feel her staring, feel her always with her. She was starting to go crazy. I could see that my sister was going crazy, and then I thought I was going crazy, because she said she could hear the woman's footsteps, and then I started to hear them too. By then, I knew which woman they were talking about. We all knew. I had heard the rhyme when I was little, and I thought, what an odd rhyme we say. I wondered if other towns have rhymes like this, stories like this. Our rhyme went, in the shadows the woman lies. See her once and she'll decide. See her twice and you're in trouble. See her thrice and you're a goner. And it might have been just a rhyme, and the disappearances might have been perfectly logical like all the adults say. But today I saw the woman, and she was staring back at me. End of statement by Alexander. I was hoping for names of the people who disappeared. However, this statement does not seem to provide that, or even show any actual evidence that people disappear. Next statement given by Nicola in 2005. No last name given to either Alexander or Nicola. I am the smallest of 4 children. The oldest is my brother, Charlie. He wins me by 6 years. He was the only one from my siblings not to pick on me. Maybe because he was older, he saw how dumb picking on the younger siblings is. I could always run to him when I needed help or a place to hide so my brothers wouldn't give me wet willies. I ran to his room when I was 11 and he was 17, like any other day. But he was startled, jumped up about half a foot when I barged in, yelling for him to tell Fred to leave me alone. I should have noticed how weird he was acting that day. But Fred was behind me, and he was going to do something foul. I just knew it. So I was distracted. Charlie kept looking around, not meeting either Fred or me in the eye as he told us to stay in the room with him a while. And I did, and so did Fred because Charlie asked us to. Charlie was jumpy. I finally noticed that he was acting too odd, too not himself. I left that night to my room, only to wake up in the morning with Charlie sleeping in the floor of my room. I thought it was funny because I could clearly see that Charlie was scared. He didn't want to be alone. He clung to me now and to Fred and my older sister Sarah, always wanting to be with us or with our parents. He started sleeping in Fred's room, in his bed even, and I think I laughed and Fred told me to shut up. I couldn't. It didn't help that Charlie didn't tell me. Not right away. He had told the other two, Fred and Sarah, because they were older. I could hear him going to Fred's room at night. Silly, because he should have just started that night there to begin with. I told him so, and Charlie looked so frightened when I did. I'd seen him look scared, but not like this. He finally told me that night. He told me about the woman. I knew the woman. Knew her since I was little. It was a story we would all tell each other in the playground to scare each other. Careful or the woman's gonna get you. She likes teenagers, but maybe she'll make an exception for you if you're tasty enough. They say she eats them. That's why the people she takes are never seen again. At least that is what we say when we're too small and believe anything. I had long stopped believing in her, even when my classmates had started up the tale again. They say she took their siblings. Maybe once they're older, they'll be next. It was dumb, really. But it didn't sound dumb when Charlie told me. It was Charlie, and I couldn't not believe him. Charlie said he saw the woman all in shadows peering at him from the corner of his room. He thought at first he was seeing things. It was dark, and sometimes a chair or the coat hanger looked like a person. So he stared at it for a long time, and once he was sure the thing staring back was a person, and the shape could leave no room to deny that it was a woman, he felt paralyzed with fear. He couldn't stop looking at her, could not move his head, could not turn his face away. His breath was fighting its way to squeeze out of his lungs. Charlie stayed that way for a long time, until morning came and he was released by the fear that only darkness causes. By then the woman was gone. Charlie had heard many of his classmates see the woman. Some had only seen her once, and then never again. They were the lucky ones, the ones the woman did not want. But Charlie saw her twice, and has felt her thick presence leaking through every inch of his house and everywhere he goes. Feels her even as he does not see her. He is afraid to be alone with her, which is why he does not sleep alone anymore. Not ever, not even for a single moment. It didn't click in my head until after Charlie disappeared, that if he truly did not sleep alone for a moment, then the footstep going into Fred's room at night could not have been his. Charlie was already there. And where did Charlie go, you ask? He is with the woman. He must have seen her again. She only takes you if you have seen her 3 times. But do not let my parents hear you. They are nothing but excuses. They say, oh, Charlie ran away with his girlfriend who lives in the city. He sends us postcards. The postcards are sent, but not by Charlie. End of statement by Nicola, no last name. No last name of Charlie either, which just makes me question the validity of these cases. Next statement by Phil, no last name. I am next. 3 have already disappeared from my grade. I'm a senior in high school. Only 1 year left and I could leave this forsaken town behind. But no one leaves this town. Did you know that? All the ones who have left for college or jobs in the city, they all have a way of finding themselves back here. Like if this town draws you in, makes you want to stay. I bet you the kids have told you, haven't they? When we're little, all we think about is that woman and that god-awful story we tell to wet ourselves at night. That was all I thought about when I was little, not knowing the true horror is the mystery as to why everyone is here. Everyone comes back. Everyone stays. I try to talk to my parents, my aunts and uncles. Why, if they had left all those years ago to go to college, why would they come back here? There were not plentiful of jobs here. Only the large farm that most of the adults work in. Even the adults that don't work in the farm pitch in work when needed. My family, they all came back. It is nice here, they say. We like it here. And that is all true, but everyone cannot think this way. There must be some adults that want to leave, yearn to leave. But then, why is everyone still here? That thought has driven me mad even more so than the woman, though she's pretty frightening herself. My friends and I, we all say we're going to leave once we graduate, move to another city, another state, another country. But I feel that is what every senior has said in this town for the past who knows how many years, only to find themselves back here. I'm determined not to be one of them, and yet I cannot do that if I too disappear. Maybe it is better to go with her, better than to end up back in this town in a few years. Circling back to the woman, I saw her, barely a whisper. I was taking a shower, and the shower window had gotten foggy, and I saw something through it, a dark shape. So I tried to wipe the window so I could see better. And then I wish I hadn't, because I could see her now, clear as day, and I'm not sure if it was because the shower window makes things appear larger than what it actually was. But the shape looked large, womanly. I think I screamed and tried to run at the same time, which only led me to slip and fall in the shower, damn near cracking my skull. She was gone when I got back up. I thought I might have dreamed her, but her presence, that I could not have dreamed up or imagined. From then on, it shocked me, assaulted me. I could not see her, but I felt her everywhere. Even her footsteps were driving me mad. I heard those footsteps at night, felt my door creak open, felt her glide up until she was next to me. I pretended to be asleep, but I could feel her penetrating gaze that much more, so I cracked open an eye, and then the other. I saw her shape, dark shadows, but she was not alone. There was another shape next to her, tall and thin, a man. I closed my eyes tight then and knew I was a goner, knew for sure I would be seeing them again a third time. There is no doubt to it. What? Oh, the rhyme hardly talks of the man. He doesn't come often, but when he does, it means all hope is lost. I really wanted to say goodbye to this town forever. I guess I will now, just not in the way I want it. End of statement by Phil. Final statement by Ruby Giles in 2005. Finally, a last name. Statement is below. You talked to Phil, did you not? I saw you here last week. Phil is gone now. Disappeared. He always wanted to leave this town, so it was an easy enough story for his parents to tell. Phil skipped town, not finishing his senior year, but he was going to study and get his GED while he worked in another state far from here. It was easy enough to buy for most. Not me. I know Phil saw the woman, saw her twice, and the man. I saw her once too, but only once. She never showed herself to me again. Her presence was so thick at first, but then it slowly dimmed until I could no longer feel her. It happens to us sometimes. I'm not sure why. It's like she looks in to see if she sees something she likes, and if she doesn't, she leaves. I don't worry about her anymore. I know what you're wondering. Why didn't Phil leave if he thought she was going to come for him? You can't hide from her. She will always come for you. No one can help you, not even your parents, especially not your parents. They like to pretend like nothing is happening, but they used to be kids like us, telling stories about the woman coming to steal you away. Then they left this town, away from their parents, who would not talk about the woman or the missing children. But then they came back. They all came back and turned into the parents who would not talk about the woman or the missing children. They get angry if they see you singing that rhyme about the woman. You heard of the rhyme, right? In the shadows a woman lies. See See her once and she'll decide. See her twice and you're in trouble. See her thrice and you're a goner. And what of the man? We sometimes say, what man? The tall man. You do not want to see him. He is the end. It is an unspoken rule that we cannot say the rhyme or talk of the missing as if they were missing. Always they left on their own. Phil and I used to say that we were going to turn our backs on this town once we finished school. That we were not going to be the ones who come back and work in the farm. Phil is gone, and I turned 18 already. I do not feel like waiting until the end of the school year to leave. I'm going now. And for once, when my parents say that I left on my own to another city and will study and get my GED, it will be the truth. End of statement by Ruby Giles. Detective Padilla's notes were a bit jumbled, but what I gathered from them, she took these statements when she came to Calico, California in 2005 to take the statements of the parents of Beverly Layton. She's a missing person from Case 1. It seems as if Detective Padilla kept busy and interviewed several people. All of the adults she tried to interview were uncooperative. However, she found some success among the children and teenagers of the town. They did not know anything about Beverly Layton except that she left town to go to college. However, it seems that Detective Padilla thought these statements would further advance her case. I do not think these statements provide any advancement, except explain why Beverly Layton acted the way she did. I started a new file in the computer database labeled Invalid Cases, and this one is one I'm going to be labeling as invalid. I do not think it is relevant to case number 1. There's no need to look further into this since there's no missing person reported. This is only town gossip that is told by children. I'm not even sure if Detective Padilla had permission to interview these kids. It might be the reason why she provided no last name except to the only person who was 18, Ruby Giles. The only thing I got from this case is to make sure to stay the hell away from Calico, California. End of Case 8.
Forgotten Creatures, a weekly horror podcast by Dark Nymph Productions, available on all podcast providers. For more information, follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Forgotten Creatures Podcast. Rate and subscribe to the podcast as this helps us grow. If you enjoyed this podcast, let us know and tell your friends.